Hello everybody, how's it going? To mark the week and a day release of Fear, I said I would do something that hasn't been requested millions and millions of times at all, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do a video breakdown of how I made my single Fear featuring Conor Clancy. So it's the moment you've been waiting for. Put your clothes back on, you can relax now. Here it is. Alright, I'm going to go straight into it. So, first of all, thank you very much to everyone who's listened, downloaded the song. It means the world to me. I'm completely out on my own here, so I'm just chancing my arm with this, really. So getting just the fact that people get to hear it and get to listen and I get any feedback has been amazing. So please continue to download and stream and all of that, and fun projects like this will continue to happen. So I'm going to fly through and kind of give you an overview of the song and how I made it. I was going to do this with the original Logic file, but my computer did the equivalent of kind of roar laughing into my face when I tried to do it the other day. It just shut down. So these are kind of mixed down stems, but it's the same kind of principle. You're going to see the gist of how I made the song. So the drums I'm going to go pretty quickly on. I'm going to start in this part here called Hook. You can see I've color coded everything magically for you all. So I already did a drum breakdown on how I made the drums, so if you haven't seen it, shame on you. But here they are. Alright, that's all the drums going on there. If I open this file up, you see what's actually happening. And all of those green bits there are all the individual drum tracks that I put together. So it was a lot. There was a whole lot going on in that. Like claps, clicks. This was kind of a sample I used, whether it was clicks for 8 or clicks for 4, and then you have the reverbs, all of that sort of stuff. My favorite parts of these, just to give you an overview, and the part that stuck it together really, I started with this thing, which is a Jameson bottle. It was me playing the side of a Jameson bottle. I just kind of like that idea of something that kind of tips along all the time. But the magic and the thing that really turned this from just being a load of random clicks and claps that I stitched together is this thing. And what that was a Tibetan bowl that I was hitting the side of. And I think I also used a pint glass. So I recorded myself with this microphone here, hitting the side of a Tibetan bowl and hitting a pint glass. And then I would have mixed those sounds together to make that. So if I build it, I'm going to do a little build up here. This is going to be awful exciting for you. Here you go. Alright, I'm going to start with the kicks. Pretty standard. And I got into clicks by 4. Claps. Claps for 8. Clicks for 8. There's an extra one. Oh, don't do it to me. It's not. It's going to be fine. And then a shaker. Got some snares happening. But then, as I said, the magic is really, that's where it gets going. And then absolutely here. There you go. That was the first thing I did in the song. I wanted to build it up from there because it was a bit weird for me. I've never started a song with drums before, and I made all of those drums and did all of this basically before I did anything else, and it was just me pissing around. I didn't know what I was doing exactly. I didn't have a plan. I didn't even know it was going to be a song at that point, so it's an interesting thing to do. For me, where it became a song is where I stuck in the piano along with it. The piano is this. So it's like a little bit of a kind of a house style piano, and I love house music, and it was just a little delve into that kind of world. That's what I kind of wanted with it, and for me that's when I was like, okay, when I had the two of these together, getting excited at this point, thinking this could be something. So that was the piano, and it's real simple, pretty much a loop the whole way through, just a little kind of a jammy piano part. I will get to it. There's a couple of extra bits at the end where I jazzed it up a small bit. And the next thing I put into this song that really took it off is my Big Finish arpeggiator. This was just an arpeggiator, a stock one in Logic. I didn't have a lot of fancy equipment to do this. I made this in a bedroom. And I think when I stuck in this, I was like, alright, this is getting particularly cool. I was getting very excited, so let me show you where this comes in here. So this is a drums, piano, arpeggiator. Alright, so when I stuck the three of those together, I was kind of going, alright, this is becoming something pretty cool. So I was like, okay, I might as well try and make it into a proper song now. So I just had this kind of dancey groove thing going on, but I didn't know what it was going to be. So I believe I went and I put in some basses into this. And yes, you heard me say the word basses, because there are three of them. For those of you who kind of make music and that sort of stuff, you will be aware of this, but like I would have had one that was kind of a higher frequency range, which was this one. And I added one with a lower frequency range, which was this. So if you're in headphones, you'll be able to hear this. If you're not in headphones, it probably sounds like nothing through a laptop speaker. Sorry about that. And then I like this thing as well. This was fun. In order to get something that just felt like it was propelling the song along, I had a bouncy arp. Again, it was the stock Logic one. It was nothing fancy. If I add back in the others. There you go. So that was the basis building up. So yeah, it's a real insight into how my brain would have been working through this, if that's of any remote interest to anyone. But this would have been those 4 parts together. It was literally building up from there. There you go. So you can see the bit I'm looping here is called hook. So that's kind of the bit where a lot of stuff happens. What I then did was I needed to write the actual song, and I did this a little bit kind of backwards in a way, because what I wrote it on, I didn't really sit down and write lyrics or melody. How I wrote melody is I had this a plugin from I think it's from Spitfire Audio or Labs. Yeah, they're free plugins. And I had a bells one that I just got, and I wanted to use these bells, and that's what I did. That's what I wrote a lot of this melody on, and it runs through the whole song. So you can hear that is what Conor ended up singing. Look into the eyes of another. So I really enjoyed that, and those bells you can hear in the track go throughout it, and they're just this little glistening thing that's meant to be on top of everything else and just sit behind it and give a kind of a high frequency to everything. I really enjoyed that part, but where the bells really did their thing is at the end here, where it took off. I really wanted something. This is obviously the climax of the song, and I wanted a frequency, and I wanted a sound that would grab people's attention. And if you listen to this in headphones, I think it does that, because what it does is it goes from one ear to the other ear, and I put on a real intense tremolo, and tremolo is just making something vibrate really kind of intensely. So here it is. Get those headphones in. There you go. It's good crack. So along with that, at that point, I'm going to jump back to pianos here, because what I had at the end, it's pretty much a piano loop throughout, and it's pretty simple. But I wanted the end bit to obviously have some new stuff, and you can actually see it here. It jumps from side to side, and I just put in these little riffs, these little descending kind of piano lines. And when they were played with the bells, they worked really well together. So this is what this sounded like. So there you go. I really like that part. That's probably my favourite bit of the song. I enjoyed it. This is at the part that was named by Conor Clancy Manky Drop. was delighted with that. He came back and he's like, yeah, I really like the song. I like the manky drop. I was like, oh, that's in forever. And that is the manky drop part. All right, we're on to the last few little bits and pieces here. My Prophet is this is a synthesizer, very famous synthesizer, and I do love it, and I use it on everything a lot. And it's where I wrote the hook of the song, which is this. So, my synth nerds out there will already know that what I'm doing is I'm playing a note and I'm using the pitch bend wheel to go. So it was written as a hook on the synthesizer, but I turned it into a vocal hook. It's like, that's good. I like that. Sing that. There you go. The other place I have it, and this was really just trawling through presets, trying to find the right thing, and then working with automation and changing everything. I wanted a big build up. I wanted to get gangsta, and I found this thing. I liked it. And that there adds to the mankiness of the drop. No end of mankiness is added through that yoke. All right, that is Prophets. Okay, so I did all of this at home myself, right? But I'm not a producer. I hadn't produced anything before other than kind of stuff that I'd messed around with at home. So I did send it to a couple of people. I sent it to Phil McGee. I sent it to Killian King, a good friend of mine, and another friend of mine, Gary Keane. And they all gave me little inputs and little things they thought should happen. And I'm giving Gary Keane credit here for two parts in particular. Even though they all gave me really good input, but one thing Gary suggested, because of the way the vocal goes, there's kind of gaps between some of the vocal parts. So I'm going to come to the vocals in a second, but if you listen to the way that the verses are, there's a line and then there's a gap, which is typical of me, that there's a lot of space for something else. And he suggested fill it.
Life flows round in circles.
The delicious vocals there of Mr. Clancy. So he was like, you should put in another line in those gaps, something to fill it up. And I was like, that's a great idea. But I got lazy. I didn't want to do a line, so I did some guitars in the gap, which sound like this.
Existence is to suffer. I've heard it all before. But I still think.
There you go. So I filled those gaps with those little guitar parts, which were great crack. Sounds like a banging electric guitar, but this really was a project of me working with what I had to hand. And I didn't have an electric guitar that was up to it, so that's actually me playing an acoustic guitar, putting it through some amps in Logic and processing the sound to make it sound electric. So there you go. You don't need fancy gear. No one would actually know that that's an acoustic guitar, but it is an acoustic guitar. So that was one thing Gary suggested to do. But my favorite addition or suggestion of his, when it became to this hook part, he's like, oh, you need to add like some airy atmosphere synthesizers. And that was a good call, Gary, because if I play from just before it, which I'll do in a second, I'll show you them first of all. I just needed something audibly to separate from the other parts of the song. There needed to be something that was like, this is the big hook part. Something else is added. It didn't have to be something really obvious, and it's not something really obvious. So here they are on their own. So there you go. I love that. It's just a bed of swirly kind of sounds that are going on and that aren't really distinguishable as such in the song. So I have a Prophet. So I'll do it this way. That's one of them. Next one is this. Oh, don't do it to me. Sorry. So it's a totally different kind of a texture to the first one. And this is the third one. And it was all about blending and mixing and finding the right sound. Three of them together. So if I come back here and I play from just before that part, you'll hear a fairly distinct difference.
Don't be scared of what you discover. Try to embrace the fear we have.
They're missed terribly when they're taken out. So they were a huge bit of the song. And that is basically it, other than obviously the main event, which I haven't even spoken about yet, which is Conor Clancy's unbelievable vocal. I want to give him a big shout out because I'd never even met the man before this. I just sent this song to him, was like, hey, how's it going? Any chance you want to sing on this? And it was a scary part of the project because, to be honest, it would have... it would have been hard to, if he was just like, no, I'm not into it at all. It would definitely feel like rejection from a man I'd never met before. It would have been too much to deal with. So luckily he came back and with words like manky drop, and he was really into it and put unbelievable effort into learning this, because in order like to learn what I had sent him a gammy vocal of me singing it, but he learned it so well and so intricately, all the little changes and different bits and pieces that were in it. He really learnt it and then added his own flavors to it. Like, so he added in that line in the manky drop, look deep into my eyes, look deep into me, which I love. So let me give you a flavor of vocals here so you can hear his amazing vocals on their own.
Look into the eyes of another, and you'll see way down deep inside.
Oh, there you go. It's about to give up, but we'll get there. So there you go. He gets this beautiful vibrato going on in his voice. It's pretty incredible. So let me... Oh yeah, I had to do this bit. Okay, for the BVs, right? This was my only part that I actually sing on the song, and it was pretty hilarious. I did it in a separate project, and Hold on a second. There you go. That's my only vocals on the whole song. I did it unbelievably quickly and with very little thought, and I really should have done it better. It was pretty disgraceful. But I lined up, like, there's 8 of me singing on each of them, so I think there's 16 of me singing vocals really badly, fairly tuney, more than likely, on a lot of them. But I got away with it because Conor's magical vocal takes over on top. So it becomes a big choir part right there. But this is the bit that Conor added that I loved.
Look deep into my eyes, look deep into me. Look deep into my eyes, look deep into me. Look deep into my eyes, look deep into me. Look deep into my eyes, look deep into me.
There you go. So that was an amazing addition by him, and really it was little touches like that take it to another level. I swore this was going to be short, and I'm looking at 19 minutes in front of me. What a disgrace. Okay, nice one. I hope that was of interest to you. Thanks a million for supporting an independent Irish artist. Keep an eye on all of my bits and pieces, Instagram, and it's mainly Instagram, to be honest. I'm floating around the rest of the places. I'll do my best. And who are my other people? Oh, thanks a million to Sean and Courtney in Baseline Music for all their help. That's been amazing. And to the Irish DJs who have got back and supported me, which is really incredible as well. And you know who you are. So thanks a million to anyone who made it this far. You deserve some sort of medal. I'm impressed, very impressed. There's more releases coming very shortly with more artists that collaborated with myself. Thanks a million. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, hit me up. Good luck.